Watch, he's gonna wait for you to pull the trigger, and then he's gonna tell you about a better deal that he found.
Shut up, Joey.
No, tell me, is there a better deal? Are you trolling me?
No.
No, seriously, Joe.
No. I told you this deal earlier today. Why would I? Why would
Okay,
I?
why are you saying no, all sarcastically?
Oh, it's nothing.
Can you please just tell me?
It's you got the best deal.
Okay, I already bought it.
What'd you buy?
The Nintendo Switch console with gray Joy-Cons with $50 GameStop gift card.
And with that, Joe has officially brought Dylan back to the Nintendo.
Woo!
7 years in the making.
Wow.
My last Nintendo system was a Wii.
Mm-hmm. And also with that, hello and welcome to the next episode of the Taco Bone Podcast.
Oh, I should have known. I should have known that's what was happening.
We've got the usual crew today. Here with me is Dylan, brand new Switch owner.
Yeah, Black Friday, Switch or Cyber Monday, Switch owner.
Cyber City.
Mid-time Switch owner, Joey.
Hello.
And since Mario Odyssey Switch owner, Joe.
Hold on a second, guys.
Wait, you got your Switch after me?
When'd you get yours?
Wait, does
I know I
Trevor,
got mine
does
before
Trevor have a
Odyssey.
Switch as well now? Does Trevor have a Switch?
No.
Guys, look in the chat.
There it is.
I got my
Confirmation
Switch
order.
long before Odyssey came out.
As you can see in the video, there's the confirmation number and the credit card digits. You can fill in the rest and claim it
Yes.
as your own.
There's my home address. Do not call SWAT on me.
That's not actually a video. Today we have 2 exciting topics for you guys today. Technically
Guys,
3.
Hold on. I just want a second to appreciate this moment.
That magical moment in which
Wait.
in which I've brought you back to Nintendo.
Wait, if I get an email right now, because I was looking in the comment section of the purchase, and it was saying, okay, because I get the like information by email for my $50 gift card, if it comes, oh, GameStop's already closed. I was gonna say I'm just gonna go tonight. I guess it doesn't matter. I have time.
You can just go get it tomorrow.
True.
Wake up bright and early and go get it.
So our topics today are going to be, we're going to do a semi-review of Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, as well as Joe's magical predictions for Pokemon Gen 8 for next year. And to finish it off, we're going to do a Game Awards prediction. Doesn't that sound fun? Game Awards are coming out next week, December 6th, the day before Smash Bros. Comes out, which you can watch the Game Awards and then immediately go buy Smash Bros. At your local game store. It releases around 9 p.m., which is awesome. So that's going to be a very fun day. And I'm sure all 3 of us are going to be maybe doing a reaction video to the Game Awards.
It releases at 9 p.m. on the 6th, the 7th.
You can buy it early,
Oh.
because East Coast gets it at 12 p.m. We get it at 9 p.m. basically.
Ah.
Hooray for time zones.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we'll start off with a little bit of thoughts and opinions on Pokemon Let's Go. Joey, you are a proud owner of Pokemon Let's Go.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
And I have Eevee. See, look how well that works. Your thoughts,
Indeed.
opinions. Let's hear it. Let's go.
Thoughts and opinions. Let's start with opinions. I love the game. It's very fun. I've always enjoyed a good Pokemon game. It's a cool combination between Pokemon and as far as it being a remake of Pokemon Yellow and intertwining with Pokemon Go. So it's definitely different, but it's been a lot of fun to play.
What do you think of the Go catching mechanics? Does it work?
Yeah, the Go catching mechanics is cool. I really was perplexed about it when I first started playing the game. I thought I would be fighting wild Pokemon, but I've come to enjoy it still.
I think the
And it's
mechanic
neat that there are
works.
still some that you can fight for catching.
Aren't like legendaries you fight a little bit?
Yes, and like Snorlax.
Snorlax or something like that. Yeah, I really like the catching mechanic. I think it works really well, and it's a nice change of pace from just constant battles. And I think there's a
Right.
big reason why I like the mechanic a lot, in conjunction with the fantastic new wild Pokemon mechanic, where they're all in front of you, they appear before your eyes. They're no longer just random encounters. You can choose which Pokemon you want to fight. I think that's the best
Right.
change that's ever happened to Pokemon. It's
No,
like
I agree with that.
the biggest game changer ever, and I would be shocked if they went back and did that, went back to random battles for the next Pokemon game.
I agree with that completely. It's definitely a cool new feature to put into the game. And I do love the motion control when it comes to catching. It's feels cool to be able to throw a Pokeball,
Yeah,
not just push a
we
button.
both have the Pokemon Go Plus. I think we both like it. It's just a fun, cute little stupid thing you can do. I like dressing up my Eevee. I like how he has all these OP moves. As someone who's
Oh yeah,
played,
you can dress your Pokemon up in this game, right?
you could just your
Yes.
partner Pokemon, so your Eevee or your Pikachu.
Yes, my Pikachu has a wild mohawk going right now.
Damn.
So much fun.
The
And guys, I would like to announce I have also canceled my Microsoft Live membership.
hooray.
I am now officially a Nintendo boy,
Oh,
spelled BOI.
BOI. Boy.
And
Boy.
with that, we will see you on Smash Bros.
By the way, I'm bringing my Switch up to Davis.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, at this point, I have to.
Aw, little kitty wants to play.
We will have 4 Switches
do you like-
in the same household.
Do you like
If Alex brings it.
do you like all the Gen 1 stuff? You know, going back into Kanto, Yellow Pokemon? Joey?
Are you
Me?
asking me? Oh yes, I love it. I love it. It's so nostalgic.
Okay, wait.
And-
So hold on. Let me throw a few beginner questions out because I'm going to be purchasing this game, if you don't mind. So this is only the original 151, correct?
That and Alolan forms
and-
of the original 151, and then Mega Evolutions.
And 2 bonus Pokemon.
Who are the 2 bonus?
Melton.
You'll have to play the game to find out, or we can tell them.
I can look it up.
They're not. They're not that crazy.
Who is it?
It's a new mythical Pokemon. I think it's supposed to be a Gen 8 mythical Pokemon called Melton.
Melton and
I'm gonna buy it
Melmetal.
just because it's Gen 1. Like, in my opinion, like, don't get me wrong, the new gens are cool, but it's just so hard to keep up with all of them.
That's true. I don't blame you.
Oh, I guess Dylan couldn't get the 2 bonus Pokemon because he doesn't play Pokemon Go anymore.
True.
I mean, I still have my account.
Yeah, you could make it. Pokemon Go is actually really fun nowadays. I think the next Community Day event is literally every single Community Day all together, which is awesome because you can get anything you missed out on. And it's like 5 days or something like that, so you can get just a ton of cool shiny Pokemon,
That's pretty cool.
including shiny Pikachu and shiny Eevee. My favorite,
Yes.
my favorite moment in this game has been when I was walking into Viridian Forest, and
Ugh.
all of a sudden, like I don't know how the catching mechanics really work. All of a sudden, I'm kind of learning that the blue sparkles mean tiny and the red sparkles mean big. And this Pikachu walks out and it's all sparkly, and I click on it, and my girlfriend
Right.
just says, "Oh, it's a shiny," and I'm like, "That's not a shiny." And I look at it, and it's Pikachu. And if you didn't know, Pikachu's shiny version is very subtle, like extremely subtle. And I'm just like, "Is that a shiny?" And I catch it, and it's like, "Holy crap! I just got a shiny. Is that really rare? What just happened?" And I looked at it, and it's like, son of a bitch, that is 100% still the same rarity as it normally is. Because it was the second Pikachu I caught, so it was like a streak bonus 2. So I was like, holy crap, I just got a shiny Pikachu.
Dumb fucking luck that you walk right into the game, right in the beginning, and you find a shiny.
And it's Pikachu.
Oh my god.
So my
How
team
hard-
is
then-
literally Eevee and Pikachu.
How hard
And then
is
you
it to
found
pull that
another
off?
shiny, did you not?
I did find a shiny. I was in Mount Moon and I found a shiny Clefairy. It had green ears. I was
Ugh.
like, why is this Clefairy? Oh my god, it's another shiny. I was like, there's no way this
Shit.
there's no way this is that easy. Turns out, it's actually that much luck. I've only gotten 3 shinies my entire time playing Pokemon, unless you count Pokemon Go, because there's lots of shinies in that game. But
There are plenty of
I don't count Pokemon Go.
the only other shiny I've ever caught was a shiny Murkrow.
Oh my god.
So I'm not super lucky when it comes to shinies. Although there might have been a
2
shiny
shinies
Onix that I
right
found.
off the bat, though.
Huh?
2 shinies right off the bat, though.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
not using the
what
shiny
the
Clefairy, but
hell?
I'm using the shiny Pikachu as like my walking buddy. So I have my Eevee on my hat, and I got Pikachu running next to me. It's the greatest thing ever.
Now question: can I have 2 like? I know that you have like a partner Pokemon that follows you around in the game. Now, is that the Pokemon that you technically put inside the Pokeball, or is that completely different?
The Pokemon you put inside the Pokeball is very similar to the Pokewalker, where you just put a Pokemon in there, you walk around with it, and it gets EXP and items for you.
And it just does its own thing.
It just does its own thing. You can even be playing the game with the Pokemon that's in the Pokeball.
Yeah.
So like I'll be playing Let's Go, I'll be battling with Eevee, and in my Pokeball is Eevee as well. So it doesn't confuse itself.
So you're racking up double XP, basically.
Now, could I, if I have Pokemon Go open, does that second as a Pokewalker? Or is it called Pokewalker? What is the new Pokeball called?
Pokeball Plus.
Pokeball Plus, and then there's the what's the Pokemon Go Plus? Is that what it is?
Pokemon Go Plus was like the badge
wristband.
looking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the wristband thing. So this is kind of like that, except with some more enhanced features, which are all
Yeah.
really cool. It's such a cool little toy.
It's a fun little device.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting more and more excited by the second for my system to come in the mail.
Can I throw in some criticisms of the game?
Ooh, yes, let's hear it.
So as much as I do enjoy just blasting through this game and whatnot, I gotta say that, and I think the fact that haven't played a Pokemon game in like 2 years, which I know is not much time at all because most people haven't played a Pokemon game in like years and years.
Right.
But I played Sun and Moon. I didn't play Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and here we are 2 years later. I think that's why I'm kind of a little more tolerant of this, but I gotta say, I've played Pokemon Blue, I've played Pokemon Yellow, I've played Leaf Green, and Silver and Soul Silver. I've played through the Kanto region 5 times, probably more,
Yeah.
in whatever ROM hack, whatever bull crap I've done. Kanto region has got to be the worst region that currently exists in Pokemon. It is boring. It is bland. It doesn't make any sense in terms of the layout in some of these cities. Cerulean City has a northern exit that leads to a person's house, a western exit, that you can't go back through. You can only go into the city. You can't leave. A southern exit that's blocked by a tree, and an eastern exit that you can only access through somebody's house. That doesn't make any sense.
Are you
And
mad?
all the routes are the same. They're all just these bland, plain grass routes, and the caves are just boring caves. Rock Tunnel is probably the worst dungeon ever made in Pokemon. It's so boring. All these routes, all these like locations, it's all really boring. And coming out from Sun and Moon, which had like such a crazy diverse like route layout, you had like jungles, volcano, canyons, cool caves, like just this tropical paradise area, beaches. Like coming out from Sun and Moon and going back to Kanto, it's just like, I hate this. I really wish they just
Should I cancel my Switch at this point? I was kidding.
cancel your Switch. No. If you haven't played a Pokemon game in a while, absolutely play this game. But for someone who's played every Pokemon game from every generation, and aside from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I've played every special edition as well. I'm just like, I can't stand Kanto anymore. It's so boring. I love the 150. I prefer having the rest of them because I played Pokemon more with like Gen 2 through 7 than I have not with. So it's like there's so much in this game that's cool, but at the same time it's just like it's just Kanto again. They could have done a lot with the routes or something like that to make them different. It's like you go like I exited Lavender Town onto Route 8 and it's another grassy plain with just trainers, patches of grass, and paths in between. It's just like every other Pokemon game is more interesting than this one.
Well, I mean, one thing I do appreciate, though, even though it's not really anything that major, I do appreciate the graphics of it. Because, when you play it on the DS and whatnot, it's like, if you play on, like, one of those handhelds, the graphics weren't great. Like, you still knew what was happening and looked cool. But, like, these graphics are really cool with the cutscenes and the fight scenes and all that, and I really appreciate that.
To be honest, coming from the 3DS, it's not as good of a jump as I would have thought it would be.
Why do you say that?
Like, because when I imagine, like, the 3D, like, it's essentially does the same thing as the 3DS does. Like, sure, there's a little bit more detail and everything, but and honestly, it's 100% because it's still Gen 1, and Gen 1 is just ridiculously boring. That does not do the Switch justice. Because, like, it's just, like, the backgrounds are all just tree, and the same texture of the trees, and repeated over and over again. And grass texture, building, cliff. Everything's the same. And the Pokemon models are great, and the player models are really good too. It's just that the engine and the graphical style has been the same since all the 3DS games, and I just feel like the 3DS games had a lot more personality to them because they were just not Kanto. But if you're looking from the DS games to this one, you definitely see the graphical jump. But something from like the 3DS is just like, I don't know. I feel like there's something more. If you look at the game called Town, which is a game by Game Freak, the guys who make Pokemon, you can see what I would see would be the like what Gen 8 will probably end up looking like. Like, it's a lot more detailed and a lot more, like, has a much better, like, rendering, and I don't know how to describe it, but that's, like, a good indication of what, like, Pokemon could actually look like. But Let's Go just seems to me just like, and that just stems completely from just redoing Kanto.
Right. What about, now, what about, like, I know that it has, like, Bluetooth connection. Now how does it work if like, for example, me, you, and Joey want to all have a duel? Could we just Bluetooth connect and then we all can play with each other?
It's not Bluetooth. It's like a wireless. It's Nintendo's wireless connection systems. It's Bluetooth. Like Bluetooth works for the Plus to your phone, but not with the Switch. I don't think it's confusing. Maybe it is Bluetooth.
But Smash Bros. You could play Bluetooth.
I don't think it's Bluetooth.
No, there's no Bluetooth.
So you need Wi-Fi.
No, it's just not Bluetooth.
Okay, it's just like
Switch
like Nintendo
Bluetooth.
Switch's wireless connection between each other.
It's just Nintendo's wireless thingy. It's just not called Bluetooth.
Whatever, but it's okay. All right. But I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. But we can all we can all play each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Sweet.
Got battles and stuff.
It's time to duel.
With that being said, let us move on to the next topic that I want to discuss, which would be, of course, next year's 2019's Pokemon, aka Gen 8 Pokemon, the game that has been said to be the one that fans have all been waiting for. Which I am very excited for, and but also very reserved with my excitement.
Reserved?
Yeah. The
Why is
thing
that?
about Pokemon games for the last few generations is the people at the top have made these constant statements that the more hardcore Pokemon fan base has always been like, Are you serious? Why? Why is that your policy when making these games? And to tell you the truth, Game Freak has the strongest IP in video games right now. Pokemon. It's easily the strongest IP. And they're probably in terms of gameplay, I don't want to use the term lazy because I'm sure it's backbreaking work making these things, but uninspired.
You tell me Game Freak's lazy? No, I was kidding.
Uninspired iterations when it comes to each game. They've made statements like, each generation has their own unique flair, and so when we work on a next generation, we want to keep those generations separate so they have their unique feels to them. But what that means is that great features from previous generations, if they were great, they'll get scrapped in place of new features that aren't necessarily as good, because that's what the other gen had. This is a new gen. Things like in Gen 4, you had this on the bottom screen, you had this really cool kind of like watch that had little different apps, like show you Pokemon health, show you Pokemon friendship, different like items, stuff like that. It was really cool. It could show you the status of Pokemon in the daycare, I think, and all these different things. And they scrapped it in the next one. And then in Gen 3, they had secret bases, which never appeared again. And in Gen 6, they had a really, really good online trading and battling system, and they scrapped it for this ludicrous like online like fair thing you can go to and work with. And everyone every time they do, it's just like, oh, why don't they just keep the good stuff and scrap the bad stuff? Why do they have to keep reinventing themselves every single time? And they do all of that while keeping so much of the mechanics that people don't really care for and just leaving them as is. And another thing that to me it seems like the guy in charge of Pokemon like asks his what is probably a not the brightest nephew that he has that's like 5 years old. He asks him, what do you think of the new Pokemon game? And he's got an attention span of like, he's got the equivalent attention span of me. And he's like, I don't know, it's kind of hard. And then he changes the entire game because of it. Like, it seems to me like he asks one kid what they think of the Pokemon game. The kid says, I don't know, I don't really, it's kind of boring. And then he just changes it.
He's like, nope, we gotta scrap this one.
Yeah,
Next.
it's the reason why your rival in Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu is this, like, nice asshole. Like, he's way too nice. He's like, oh, let me give you a revive. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
go away. I don't need your help. And his description was that due to the developments in graphics and character animations, we didn't want your rival to be a dick because kids would develop like it would make a significant negative impression on small minds.
Awesome.
Like, for some reason, a kid can't handle a character being kind of an asshole to you. Kind of like, and that whole, I don't know.
It just sounds like one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, and then there's this constant progression of making things easier in the games. Like, Pokemon Sun and Moon is probably the most tutorial-heavy Pokemon game. It's, in the first island, it's just cutscene, tutorial, 5 seconds of gameplay, cutscene, tutorial, 5 seconds of gameplay. It's nonsense. And to me, it just seems like Gen 8, it's just, once again, they're going to dumb it down some more. Like, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was kind of like the make or break kind of system, where it's like they're really simplifying it in Let's Go Pokemon and Eevee. It's a really simple, easy game to play. Now, does that mean they're going to keep doing that with the next one, or are they going to make that a separate thing and be like, okay, the next Pokemon game is going to be more along a more difficult style? Now, I'm fine with tutorials and stuff like that and explaining the way to play the game, but I feel like it's 2018, and this company should be able to make a way for you to be able to skip tutorials if you know how to play Pokemon.
Right. Like,
it should not be I should not have to sit through hours and hours of tutorial when I already know how to catch a damn Pokemon. Like I know it. I know how to do it. Like just let me skip it. You can. I should be able to expect ways to skip that kind of stuff.
Right.
Anyway,
I agree.
there's some dumbing down of Pokemon mechanics that has been kind of plaguing Pokemon for a long time now, and I hope that they finally move away from that. Which, no offense to the guy who's been in charge of Pokemon for the longest time, I think his name is Junichi Masuda, I think. He said he's stepping down from directing Pokemon games so that newer talent can come up and take a swing at it. I hope the newer talent does different things because I've been really annoyed with the decisions that the current director's been made. Granted, he's like the Pokemon guy, like the original like artist for a lot of the original Pokemon, but man, he's just not a good director. He makes great regions and great new Pokemon, but it's just the gameplay, just some of the stuff, man. It's just.
Is this like the general consensus between everyone in like the industry?
Yeah, for the most part. It's hard. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, we all had our first Pokemon game. My first Pokemon game was Sapphire, and Sapphire was hard as shit.
What? Sapphire was your first game?
Yeah.
That was a good game though.
Yeah, because I never had a Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Advance as my first thing, so the first thing I got was Sapphire.
My first Pokemon game was Yellow version.
Nice.
I think mine was Red. Or rather,
my parents didn't want me to have a Game Boy because they didn't want me to be distracted while we were out.
Well, too late.
Yep. Sucks to suck. Kind of failed on that part. Sapphire is hard as shit. Freaking the third gym leader, Watson, he has like Magnemites and Magnetons, and those are really hard to defeat when you have a Trico. A Trico and a Swellow and a Gyarados.
yeah.
Yeah, like Pokemon games, they don't really need to be dumbed down. There's some of the best fights in Sun and Moon are the hardest fights because they challenge you with actual real mechanics, and they're not like brain dead robot AIs that just do nothing. And I understand that you want kids to be able to get through the game, but there should be something for players who know what they're doing, something to make it a little more challenging. But I have ideas.
You have ideas?
Let me pitch to you, gentlemen, Joe's idea for a better and brighter Pokemon world.
Make Pokemon great again.
Make Pokemon great again. If you've seen their sales numbers, you'd think that Pokemon has been pretty damn good the last few years, which is great for them, but also a shame because then they don't challenge themselves as much as they could be. I think Gen 8 is going to come out next year, and it's probably going to be fairly similar to what we've seen as far as like Gen 7 goes. Maybe be pushed more towards a more hardcore style of Pokemon versus like the easiness of Let's Go, because I feel like that's a good. It almost feels like they're trying to separate the audiences a little bit, where the hardcore audience will play the Let's Go games, but the easy newcomers don't necessarily have to play the harder games. So maybe that's what they're kind of going for. But here is my idea for what could make Gen 8 amazing. Imagine taking Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Pokemon and combining it.
Wow.
What an
That
original
sounds
idea.
amazing.
It's almost as if every person in the known universe has thought of open world Pokemon game to be a real thing. But I have specific details, and I've been thinking about this all day while I was supposed to be in a training meeting. Just staring off into space, being like, oh, that would be a good way of doing it.
But fuck your training meeting.
So it starts off like any old normal game. You're in a small little town at the beginning. You got your professor, you get your starter. Your starter runs alongside of you. He's kind of like serves as the Eevee or Pikachu, and actually makes real Pokemon noise instead of the sound effect. So for example, if it was like Charmander, we'd actually say Charmander instead of like the Charmander sound effect.
That would be cool.
And you could do like the petting thing and all that stuff. and dress it up. You go
What if there was
through.
like a setting to where you could do like actual cry or original sound effect,
That'd be cool. You go
like
through. You
based
go
on
through the
your preference?
professor. You catch a couple Pokemon. You go through the first town. Maybe grab the first gym, and then you leave, and you're outside the first town, and you're greeted to this giant, open like landscape full of different, and you can see off in the distance all these different like settings. There's like a jungle and a lake and a big icy mountain and like a volcano over there, and like what looks to be a bunch of different cities and stuff all scattered around the place. And it's just you're in the open field, and you just get to go wherever you want.
That sounds amazing.
In this idea, you can tackle any gym in any order you want, and it'll scale to your Pokemon. So, like, if you want to
Damn.
head up to the Icy Mountain right away, you can do that. Granted, you might not have the best Pokemon for that kind of thing, but you can do it if you really wanted to. But there's also, like, a path that it'll take you. Like, it's like, oh, I recommend you go to this one, but do whatever you want if you really want to. And so, like, if you're, like a newer player, you can follow the path. But if you want to, like, go out and tackle, like, the Dragon Gym, you can just do that if you want. And so you can go to any city, you can go to any location, however you want, when you want it. Very similar to kind of Breath of the Wild. It's kind of like pick wherever you want to go kind of style, right?
I'm in. When can I pre-order?
Second thing is that I feel like, well, obviously this would completely destroy the idea of routes in Pokemon, but I think that's for the best. And I think Pokemon Let's Go did a good job of creating those like Pokemon popping out of like caves and grass, but I think they can go a step further in how you sort of design these locations to have spots where Pokemon can hide and pop out of that's not just necessarily tall grass. Because if tall grass doesn't spawn random Pokemon encounters, what's the point of tall grass? Like
Right.
Pokemon should be able
Right.
to pop out of like scenery and other areas, the things that you can't necessarily see, like just spawn randomly where you can't really like see them. And
Right.
maybe you can go off into a forest and you can find different Pokemon from around there, and you can try catch them. And I think what would be a cool idea is kind of changing the way catching works. In the sense that you can go up to regular basic Pokemon like a Pidgey or a Rattata, and you can just go catch it like just like normal, like Pokemon Go, throw the Pokeball, catch it. But if you want to catch like something a little bit more rare, like let's say a what did
Zapdos.
a little less rare. Let's say
Like a Dragonair.
huh?
Dragonair.
Let's say an Onyx.
Okay.
Let's go level 2 rarity. You have to kind of track it. You have to look for clues. You have to look for signs of where it might be kind of nesting. And then when you find it, it'll pop out, and then you can battle it, and then you can catch it ghost style. So weaker Pokemon, you can catch weaker Pokemon that are common in an area, you can catch ghost style. But rare Pokemon in the area, you have to find and actually kind of like hunt for the Pokemon. And that also kind of affects how you hunt for legendaries and rare Pokemon down the line. And then for things like the actual story, there's obviously like a team that's threatening the area, and that you slowly kind of gather information on, and you can tackle at your own leisure. And you have obviously the gym challenge where you can go in, gather all the gyms, and because they're so far away in these different areas, it feels like a different kind of accomplishment to actually defeat a gym. Since it's not just like a linear path, like, oh, well, I just finished level 2 basically because I got the next gym badge. No, it's like you can save all 8 gyms to the very end of the game and just wipe them all out if you wanted to, or you can tackle them at your own leisure at different paces. So like kind of just feels like how you want to play.
I want a game like this. No.
And the last thing is a sweeping overhaul of how Pokemon develop in the game. And for the first time, a new leveling system called trainer level.
Ooh.
Dun dun dun. You yourself level up. And how you level up changes how your Pokemon level up as well, and how you're able to find new Pokemon and train new Pokemon. So let's say you're starting off the game, you have your 6 Pokemon, you're you're 90% of the way through the story, your character's like level 4, level 5, your Pokemon are going to level up pretty normally. But once you start getting to like your trainer level up higher and higher and higher, it's a lot easier to train new Pokemon up and up and up. Because like you're a better trainer.
Well, that makes complete sense.
So like if you're like trainer level 20, your Pokemon get like double XP basically because you know how to train them better. And maybe you have like, you can have specializations. Like if you've been training a lot of ice type Pokemon, you're like more adept at training ice type Pokemon. Because you're a trainer, right? You're not just throwing your Pokemon out willy-nilly. You should have actual skills and stuff that help make Pokemon better. And maybe a cool mechanic is like, because towns and cities are kind of far away, you have to kind of, there's a little bit of a survival aspect to it where you have to make sure you have like, food and, shelter.
You actually have to feed your Pokemon.
Feed your Pokemon and stuff like that. And I like the mechanic where you can access your PC whenever you want, but I feel like in a real Pokemon game, that would be a little bit overpowered. So I kind of
like that's the thing about Pokemon Let's Go is they completely defeated the purpose of a PC.
Right, but it's like you can, if your Pokemon are weak, you can just throw them in the PC and bring out new ones, right?
Yeah.
So what if you can only bring your PC out if you set up a camp? And that's where you can feed Pokemon, do specialized trainings and stuff like that, develop your Pokemon, do the grooming stuff, and like bring Pokemon in and out of your PC. And that way you can't just do it.
Not a bad idea.
You have to do it at a certain spot. And that'll create more of a difficulty challenge with actually developing your Pokemon. And then...
Not a bad idea right there, buddy.
See, I got ideas. I got some cool ideas. And then...
You need to go sit in on some more meetings so that you can just, think these up more.
This is what I do because I just get bored. I just think of ideas. And some cool post-content ideas would be is that there's these cool dungeons based off each type of Pokemon that features like battle challenges and puzzles and stuff like that. And when you get to the end of the thing, you get the Pokemon's type Z crystal or something like that. Just like mastery of the types, Mega Stones, all that jazz. Cool post-game stuff.
Nice.
Battle the Elite Four stuff. Oh yeah, how do you develop the Pokemon a little bit more. So I'm talking about like trainer level, and as you develop, you level up as a trainer, you're able to train your Pokemon better. Well, Pokemon now start off level 1 is a little bit different. The progression of levels is a lot more subtle. Like when you're battling with your Pokemon, you'll see the little ding and it'll say level up, but it won't really show you and stop to show you the stat boosts and all that stuff. In fact, the stat boosts are kind of less like not as like shown off in terms of like normal gameplay, because that was one of those things I always kind of find it weird when you're for the simplicity of the Pokemon games. It's kind of weird when you level up and it shows you the additions to your stats. That always seemed kind of a weird thing to me. Like I feel like as a kid you don't really pay attention to that as much. Only when you're more hardcore you actually care about it, right?
You're talking about like Eevee training and stuff like that?
No, literally when you level up and it shows you all your stats and it adds the little plus numbers to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's like a mechanic that doesn't really make any sense for little kids, but when you're more of like a hardcore trainer, it doesn't make any difference either. Because when you're a hardcore trainer, you EV train and IV train, so the stat boosts don't really matter because you already know what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And you're just trying to get to a certain level. So I'm not really sure what that mechanic is for. So I would say take that out and just make leveling up a much more subtle thing. And in terms of move progression, you have sort of like a leveling tree where you start off with your Pokemon has like a base move, and as you maybe feed it candy, or as you level up, maybe it gets points that you can spend on effort value stat boosts and develop more moves for your Pokemon and unlock its abilities. If you're using like let's say Pikachu, you're leveling up your Pikachu, you'll eventually come up on a kind of like two branches where you can continue to develop your Pikachu as Pikachu, or you can evolve it into Raichu to do the Raichu line, or you can evolve it to Alolan Raichu to do the Alolan Raichu line. And so like your Pikachu will develop different types based off that. Maybe the same thing for like a Rattata, whereas like a Rattata will develop normally, but there'll be like this branch at a certain point where it'll adopt the dark type secondary type and become a Alolan Rattata. or it'll just stay as regular Rattata and go through the regular Rattata line.
You know what Pokemon should
Hmm?
make transgender Pokemon?
What the fuck?
Equality.
There kind of is.
No. Yeah.
I think.
Ditto.
Yeah.
It's just like
I mean, there's genderless Pokemon, but
I'm just trolling.
I don't think the idea of transgender in Pokemon, it's kind of the same thing as animals. Animals don't really have genders.
Animals have genders?
Biologically, but not like...
No.
Like...
What? Where is this conversation going?
What the fuck are you talking about? You started it!
You started it.
No, I
Don't
know.
ask where it's
I
going.
was just like, okay, never mind.
Alright, we don't have to get into the sexual nature of Pokemon.
Please.
That could be a whole nother podcast right there. Anyway.
No.
So yeah, I think it'd be kind of
Let's
cool
not
if
talk about it.
if developing a Pokemon was something less permanent as far as, the choices you make. Like, I always hated the idea of IV training, because it's this thing where you breed a specific Pokemon with another specific Pokemon in order to get the perfect IV values. And in order to do that, you have to breed 100 versions of that Pokemon. And then you have all these eggs and all these semi-perfect Eevees just sitting in a Pokebox. You either release them, you wonder trade them, or you just leave them in there. And to me, that's such an anti Pokemon kind of thing. To just have
You're just farming the system.
Yeah, you're basically running like a Pokemon puppy mill, trying to get the best possible
Pretty
breed.
much.
It's kind of evil in a way. Like, IV training is kind
That's
of like an
just
evil thing
weird.
you do. And to me, I feel like any way of getting rid of that would be a blessing. So my idea is not necessarily getting rid of IVs and stuff and breeding, but making that significantly less random and more focused. So when you do breed a Pokemon, you kind of know what you're going to get out of it. That way you're not unleashing 200 extra of a certain species into the wild with no way of gathering actual resources, and
Right.
overpopulating, and everything society starts collapsing because there's too many people, too many Pokemon, not enough resources to go around, and all of a sudden you have to kill half the population. Maybe
Snap your fingers and kill half the population.
Maybe
Oh,
he had
what
a point.
shame.
IV trainers caused Infinity War.
Oh
Oh,
God.
fuck off.
Anyway. So I think, being able to level up your Pokemon and, Pokemon can have usually two or three abilities. I think it'd be cool if you can choose which abilities you wanted at which points instead of having that being stuck as one for that whole Pokemon. And different ways of just having more options with how you develop your Pokemon.
I agree.
I think it'd be kind of cool. Maybe even
Joe,
going
I
so
like
far.
this entire idea. I'm invested.
Yeah, maybe you can go so far as to if you have Bulbasaur and you're leveling up your Bulbasaur. It's grass type, obviously, and when you reach a certain level, you can unlock the poison subtype for Bulbasaur, and that unlocks more poison type moves.
Ooh,
And maybe
very
even
neat.
if you want Bulbasaur to learn, let's say, what can Bulbasaur learn? Let's say
Vine Whip,
no, I'm not.
a poison type mode.
Let's say Pikachu. Pikachu can learn Iron Tail, which is a steel type. Maybe in order
Right.
for Pikachu to learn Iron Tail requires a special type of training because it's not its actual type. So maybe non-type moves require different trainings than moves that are along its line.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. All these kinds of different ideas for making training Pokemon a little bit more interesting and catching Pokemon a lot more interesting. So you actually have to go hunt. Maybe you have to, if you want to go try to find Aerodactyl. If you want to try to capture Aerodactyl, you have to there's a guy in a city who will give you kind of a hint and a quest to go to this certain mountain, and in that mountain you can kind of go through caves and stuff like that, find clues, and finally you get to encounter like an Aerodactyl.
That'd be
So
cool.
if I'm catching your vibe right, you just want more lore.
I do like more story in Pokemon.
We all know you like the lore. It's okay.
I do like the lore. Although I feel like I like developing my own lore versus listening to someone else's. No, it sounded kind of conceited, but I like.
That's not a
creating
bad
ones.
idea.
Trevor's more of the lore guy in terms of that.
The lore.
Hope you all enjoyed this podcast about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and our predictions for Generation 8. Appreciate you all for watching. See you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.